Harry Maguire went from being the most expensive defender in English football to becoming an internet meme sensation. Mistake after mistake after mistake. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse for him, it did. And now the big question is, just how bad is Harry Maguire?
I mean, Harry Maguire is a good ball-playing centre-back who's lost his confidence. And that's the bottom line, and hence lost his position in the Man United team.
Can you believe it? Manchester United splashed out a mind-blowing £80 million for Harry Maguire. But here's the thing. He hasn't exactly lived up to the price tag. Fans and critics have been tearing their hair out over his performances. He's had some truly head-scratching moments on the pitch, but nothing tops that unforgettable clash with Paul Pogba. You know, the one where he almost took his own teammate's ear off during an aerial duel. These clumsy moments have practically turned into a comedy reel for United fans. It's hard to watch, especially when you think about the kind of player Maguire used to be. See, Manchester United has a reputation for mismanaging top talent, but this is on another level. How does a national team captain and a key player for a top club end up like this?
He's made mistake after mistake after mistake, and he hasn't handled the pressure, and I think he's let his own standards drop.
You see, Maguire's career wasn't always filled with this much criticism. In fact, he first made a name for himself as a key player in Leicester City's incredible rise to prominence. Maguire was never the fastest player on the pitch, but he didn't need to be. His size, technical ability, and football IQ made up for it, and at Leicester, he truly came into his own. Over 76 appearances, he scored 5 goals, delivered 3 assists, and became a rock in defense. But what really stood out? His composure and discipline. Just 1 red card in more than 6,700 minutes and only 15 yellows. Pretty incredible for a center back. He wasn't just strong and fearless, he had the ball-playing skills that modern defenders need to shine. I mean, playing center back in England's top league isn't for the faint of heart, but Maguire handled it with ease. Naturally, his performances caught the attention of the big boys. After being named Leicester's Player of the Year twice in a row, it became clear Maguire wasn't staying forever. By the summer of 2018, both Manchester clubs, United and City, had him on their radar.
The Manchester clubs have both said that they would pay £65 million for him. Leicester haven't put a price and said, they've said, made it very, very clear, he's not for sale.
City needed a successor for the aging Vincent Kompany, while United's defense was a disaster, leaking goals left and right. Maguire looked like the perfect solution for either team. And then came the World Cup. Maguire's performances for England in 2018 were the stuff of dreams. From rock-solid defending to that now iconic head goal against Sweden.
Quiet, Kane, Stones, now they break. And it's headed firmly in! Harry Maguire got his head to it!
His stock skyrocketed. Leicester saw their moment and slapped a hefty £70 million price tag on him. Between the English tax, selling to a direct rival, and the record-breaking fee Liverpool had just paid for Virgil van Dijk, Leicester knew they could demand a fortune. Both Manchester clubs backed off, unwilling to meet the price. But just a year later, United came crawling back, and this time they paid even more, a staggering £80 million, making Maguire the most expensive defender in football history. It's the classic Manchester United story. Hesitant at £70 million, but ending up spending £80 million a year later. You can't make this stuff up. Now, to be fair, United had their reasons. See, their 2018-19 defense was shambolic. They conceded 54 goals that season, worse than teams like Crystal Palace, Newcastle, and Everton. The numbers were embarrassing, and the need for reinforcements was urgent. United saw Maguire as the answer, just as Leicester had before them. But that record-breaking £80 million fee? It's hard not to see it as a gamble that the club might now regret. But it wasn't all bad for Harry Maguire when he first stepped onto the stage at Manchester United. In fact, his debut season painted a very different picture. See, he played every single game, anchoring a defense that ranked among the best in the league, right up there with Liverpool and Manchester City. Maguire looked at home in his preferred left-sided center-back position, where his aggression, aerial dominance, and leadership shone through. He was more than just reliable, he was commanding. And then came the moment every player dreams of. After just a few months at the club, Maguire was handed the captain's armband. A huge deal for any player, let alone someone so new to Manchester United. It was a surprising choice. After all, United captains are usually long-serving, experienced players. Think David De Gea, who many felt was the more obvious candidate. But Maguire's performances spoke for themselves, and he quickly silenced the skeptics. Fast forward to the summer of 2021, and Maguire was riding high. He wasn't just thriving at United, he was dominating for England too. At Euro 2020, he was a rock at the back, helping England all the way to the final. He even stepped up in the penalty shootout and smashed one with the confidence of a striker. But football can be a cruel, unforgiving world. For all the highs, the lows can come fast, and for Maguire, they came hard. By the 2021-2022 season, the tide had turned. Mistakes started creeping into his game. And they weren't small errors. They were the kind that leave fans scratching their heads in disbelief. Suddenly, Maguire became a walking meme. Own goals, clumsy passes, being caught out of position, you name it, it happened. It seemed like every week, a new clip of his mishaps went viral. Even his teammates, frustrated and under pressure themselves, started openly questioning him. And then came the stats, the kind no defender wants to see attached to their name. Manchester United conceded 57 goals that season. 57. It was their worst defensive record in over 40 years. Sure, the chaos of constant managerial changes didn't help, but Maguire's form, or lack of it, was impossible to ignore. Fans hoped things would turn around the following season, a fresh start, a clean slate. But instead, it only got worse. So the 2022-2023 season started with a bang, and not in a good way. Maguire, still wearing the captain's armband, became the symbol of United's struggles in the post-Ferguson era. His confidence, once so unshakable, now looked completely shattered. Mistakes piled up, each one worse than the last. His own goal against Sevilla in the Europa League quarterfinals left fans stunned.
And yet Campos, and in the series with another header, deflected in, and Sevilla go level on the night. It is a...
And then, in the second leg, United were humiliated 3-0, with Maguire once again playing a starring role in Sevilla's first goal. The hits just kept on coming. A match against Leicester City saw him gift the opposition 2 goals and contribute to a third, a performance that left fans furious. Then came the disaster against Liverpool at Old Trafford, where he was at fault for multiple goals in a crushing defeat.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, apologies to the fans. It's nowhere near good enough for this club. We're all disappointed. We spoke in the dressing room.
Week after week, game after game, it felt like Maguire was stuck in a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. So how did it all go so wrong? This was the same player who had once been hailed as one of the Premier League's finest defenders. Now he was struggling just to get through 90 minutes without making a costly mistake. Some argue that England's defensive system, with its deeper line and extra cover, better suits Maguire's strengths and hides his weaknesses. At Manchester United, where the team plays a high defensive line, those weaknesses are brutally exposed by quick, agile attackers. Whatever the reason, one thing is clear. For a player who came with such a hefty price tag, the expectations were sky high, and Maguire had fallen far short. But why exactly is Maguire considered one of the worst players in the world? To really understand, we need to take a look into his performances and uncover what's gone so wrong. First up, the unforced errors. See, Maguire has this unusual talent for making mistakes that leave fans shouting at their screens. It's like he's playing for the other team sometimes. Misplaced passes, reckless challenges, and defensive breakdowns that leave his teammates scrambling to clean up the mess. And these aren't rare one-off blunders. No, they've become the norm. And then there's that infamous incident in Greece. Back in 2020, Maguire was involved in a brawl while on holiday, leading to an assault charge against a police officer. It was a moment that changed everything. Before that, he was a rock in Manchester United's defense under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a leader, a key player. But after the incident, it was like his confidence took a nosedive. The commanding, assured defender we'd seen before was suddenly nowhere to be found. Now, let's talk pace, or lack of it. Now, Maguire's never been the quickest, but he used to make up for it with smart positioning and reading the game well. Lately, though, even that seems to have disappeared. Opposing attackers blow past him like he's not even there. And under Erik ten Hag's high-pressing, fast-paced system, Maguire's struggles couldn't have been more obvious. He simply couldn't keep up, leaving teammates like Varane and Shaw to cover for him, which made the team's defense vulnerable to counterattacks. It gets worse. His decision-making has raised countless eyebrows. I mean, remember when he tackled his own teammate during a match against Tottenham?
2-header, 3 headers, 4. And in the end, it looked like even Maguire pulled Shaw back so he couldn't clear it.
It was almost comical, if it weren't so painful to watch. These kind of moments make you wonder, what is he thinking? And don't even get us started on his positioning. Maguire often loses track of his markers during set pieces, moments when focus is everything. Fans have seen it happen too many times, and every time, it feels like deja vu. Even the stats tell the story. At the start of the 2020-2021 season, Maguire made more errors leading to shots on goal than any other outfield player in the Premier League. That's right, he's that player. But to be fair, it's not all on him. David De Gea's limitations as a sweeper keeper didn't help. His reluctance to leave his line and poor distribution often put Maguire in tight spots, forcing him to play backward instead of driving the team forward. But even so, some of Maguire's decisions and mistakes are just baffling. I mean, watching Harry Maguire play, you can't help but feel like he's trapped in his own head. His confidence is gone, his focus is shot, and his mistakes have piled up to the point where redemption seems nearly impossible. But here's the thing, there's still a little bit of hope. See, if Maguire can somehow rediscover the player he used to be, the confident, commanding defender, maybe, just maybe, he can turn it around. At the end of the day, it's up to him. The door isn't completely closed for him to turn things around, but the pressure is immense, and time is running out. In football, it's simple. Perform or risk being replaced. But this isn't just about poor performances. It's all about the mental toll, too. The abuse Maguire faced during the 2021-2022 season was shocking. A study by the Alan Turing Institute revealed that he was one of the most abused players in the Premier League on social media, with nearly 9,000 abusive tweets directed at him. Yeah, that kind of thing would break even the strongest of characters. And it's not just online. During Manchester United's Champions League match against Atletico Madrid in the 21-22 season, the reaction from the Old Trafford crowd said it all. When Maguire was subbed off, the stadium didn't cheer in support, they erupted in boos. Things reached a boiling point during the pre-season tour in Australia in 2022. Fans booed him every time he touched the ball. I mean, imagine that. The fans who once cheered for you turning their backs. It didn't stop there. England fans, who supported him for years, turned on him too. At Wembley, the booing continued. Maguire's story has shifted dramatically, from a promising young talent and record-breaking signing to someone many now view as a liability. With Ruben Amorim now in charge at Manchester United, it's clear the club will be looking to rebuild their defense. Maguire's recent performances have put his place in jeopardy, and unless he can pull off a miraculous comeback, the writing is on the wall. The club will move on. At this point, the only reason Ruben Amorim might consider starting Maguire is for comedic relief. He's become the punchline of the team, and keeping him in the lineup would only fuel the ridicule. While times like this have the power to bring out the best in some players, it feels like Maguire's time at Manchester United has reached the point of no return.